This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. Yeah, that audio, that sound effect didn't sound very loud. I'm not sure what the deal is with that. Didn't sound right. Oh well. It was quiet. Had it quiet. Did it sound quiet on your guys' end? This one right here? It's weird, it doesn't sound right in there. I don't know. Huh. Well, anyways, What do you mean, what is this? Hey, everybody, we can use our emoji now. What the hell is this? Somebody typed in, what is this? Here we go, everybody, boom, boom, boom. Yeah. What the hell is this? Well, have you ever thought of reading the title? Maya. Yeah, read the title and see what it says. You might learn what it is about by reading the title. Pretty simple shit, really. Alright, yeah, there's been some updates in some of the cases we've been talking about. I gave the Megazoids today, like one of the perks. I've had shows with just them before. But they got this crazy as hell. Put a 1 if it's the craziest thing you've ever heard about in a crime. I don't want you talking about it. But we'll probably be able to tell everybody about it in the next couple days. I'll do it anyways. And then I'm going to put it for Patreon people, the Patreon members right after the show here. Yeah, YouTube doesn't make it easy to do it like that. It's pretty weird. Yeah, so it's pretty crazy. You have to... I have to make it, worthwhile for people. I know people are just doing it to support me and the charities and whatnot at the end of the month. So, but at the same time, I don't feel like, oh gosh, Gray, I've been the lowest tier all the time and I can't afford. Well, it's just kind of the way it is, right? I mean, I can't really do anything about it. I appreciate everybody's support, but I don't want the. I could see these little looks like, oh, I should get to know too. Okay, well, yeah, maybe, I guess, but I mean, I have to have some, I don't know. I think most people get it. They just get upset. Right? Huh? Hey, thanks, Ashleela Smith. Now go check that out. It's wild. It really is one of the craziest things you've ever... It's in the... regarding the Schnee Oberholzer case. You guys all know that one. But I noticed people were trying to type in comments about it in the post comments, and you can't really put them in there. Just watch it. Don't put any comments or anything like that. All right. Yeah, you'll get to... Everybody else will get to see it here in the next couple days anyways. All right. All right. So let's just get to the cases from today. All right, so there's two different ones. We'll start off with one of the main ones, the Erica Hernandez. Okay. So what I did was I put it on... They found the vehicle and she's in it, and it was in the water, and it's almost identical. Remember the case a while back with the Google Earth image? And you could see the car in the water, and the car it was almost exactly a similar situation where it's a street that leads right into the pond. Okay, so I think it's going to end up being an accident. But here we go. Let's play this right here.
Also continuing to follow this breaking news in Pearland, where authorities are now on the scene of a car.
And this is, let's see, hold on a second. Yeah, this is ABC.
Also continue.
ABC 13 Eyewitness News. They have that cool helicopter technology that puts the streets on there, so I was able to grab it. I know where it is.
Car that has gone into this water, and there are reports that there is a body inside of the car. Sky Eye 13 over the scene, giving you a much better view using our mapping technology here to let you.
Here, I'll start it over again.
Land, where authorities are now on the scene of a car that has gone into this water, and there are reports that there is a body inside of the car. Sky Eye 13 over the scene, giving you a much better view using our mapping technology here to let you know exactly where this is happening in the Shadow Creek Ranch neighborhood near Reflection Bay and North Clear Lake. We want to head up to Don Armstrong to give us a better idea of what kind of things that you're seeing and what it looks like is taking place. Don, we've been trying to see if we can spot the vehicle in the water, but it doesn't look like we can.
Yeah,
no, we can't. Matter of fact, I was trying to do that before we went on the air. As a matter of fact, I assume that the line that you're looking at right there, the yellow line that goes from the shore down into the water, is connected to that vehicle. So that would put the vehicle somewhere around in here. Now, these are pools of water. They are retention ponds in these neighborhoods that are really designed to hold water that could be flood water in the neighborhood. Now, obviously,
this is in Pearland, Texas. We've talked about it many times.
Continuing to follow this breaking news in Pearland, where authorities are now on the scene of a car that has gone into this water, and there are reports that there is a body inside of the car. Sky Eye 13 over the scene, giving you a much better view using our mapping technology here to let you know exactly where this is happening in the Shadow Creek Ranch neighborhood near Reflection Bay and North Clear Lake. We want to head up to Don Armstrong to give us a better idea of what kind of things that you're seeing and what it looks like is taking place. Don, we've been trying to see if we can spot the vehicle in the water, but it doesn't look like we can.
No, we can't. Matter of fact, I was trying to do that before we went on the air. As a matter of fact, I assume that the line that you're looking at...
Oops, hold on a second. It froze over here.
That's not the case. You can't see that the water has been up here because of past rains, but you can also see flippers here from divers that have been in the water. When we arrived on the scene about 20 minutes ago, there were divers that were kind of halfway in their diving suits standing around. They have now gone back to this vehicle here. That is the dive team, and there actually is one of the divers. You can see he still has his dive suit on.
Like but a lot of
police here at the scene, a lot of police, and let me underscore that. It goes down both sides of this street here. The street is blocked off here on North Clear Lake Loop.
Yeah,
don't confuse this with Clear Lake over in the Clear Lake area. This is in Pearland, so all these streets are blocked off. A lot of investigators here, and as you can tell, a lot of people standing around. Now, there is a record on scene here. I did look for that before we went on the air, and it's right around the corner over here. But you wonder why everybody's standing around, and I would imagine that it is probably waiting on the...
Well, you'd know Wicked Witch of the West if you just watched the show, because we've covered it. This is the third time now, okay? So, great. You now know where it is, and let's just move on now, okay? It doesn't matter that you live in Canada. It doesn't matter anything.
Medical examiner if they have determined that there is a body in that vehicle. So we're just going to have to wait and see how this all plays out.
Yeah, so let me show you on the map right here. It's right here. See, this is just like that other case where they found the car in the water. You could see it in the water. Look at this street right here. So in relation to all the other places that she was, they checked over here. Her home was there. There was this is where the surveillance camera picked her up. That's the friend's house. Then she was last seen here, and then again, I guess, on this road. So it's possible she was driving like this on this road, and then took a right for some reason on this street, and just wasn't paying attention. I think she I can't prove it or anything. I'm basing this purely all on the hiccup. But if she had a couple drinks, maybe she just wasn't paying attention. You know, she was out kind of late with her friend too, at the friend's house. And she goes down this street right here, and you're just not paying attention, just like that other case. And she just goes straight through. It's dark out, maybe. She's just not paying attention. And boom, right off the edge there, and it goes right to where they are looking. So you're in this lane, boom, right there. That rope kind of comes in like this. So that's exactly, it just makes sense to me. It doesn't look like something intentional. You know, that's always a possibility. Either it's a suicide or accidental. I'd be really shocked if there was any more to it than that. Or I guess I wouldn't say I would be shocked. I would be surprised.
Alona, Eric?
All right, certainly what looks to be a pretty small residential street. And Don, we're not seeing any skid marks, so we don't know how they found out about this. Very difficult to piece together exactly what happened out there. But Don is going to continue to follow this for us. And as we get any updates, we will pass them along there, what's happening in Pearland in the Shadow Creek Ranch neighborhood.
All right, and then there was
at the end of the road.
Little bit of a press conference.
Based on that
That's where it started, right there.
information, we contacted the Houston Police Department's dive team, which came out and quickly located a vehicle at the bottom of the water. The license plate on that vehicle and the body and make matched that of Miss Erica Hernandez. We immediately notified the family that we had found a lead in the case and called in Pearland Police Department, as this area is in their jurisdiction. Our condolences go out to the family as they go through a painful time of waiting for a positive identification on one individual that was found inside the vehicle. I want to thank again all of our partners, Pearland, EquiSearch, the FBI, and my missing persons unit for all of the work that they've put in around the clock to get us to this point today. At this time, I will allow the Pearland Police Department to come up and speak, as they will be lead in the investigation going forward. Again, I want to express my condolences to the family as we wait out this trying time, and be patient. The investigation will continue. In Pearland, would you please?
Good evening. I'm Officer Wells. I'm the primary public information officer with the Pearland Police Department. Today, in collaboration with our law enforcement partners, we came out to today's scene and assisted in vehicle recovery from the retention pond right here at the intersection of North Collect Loop and Reflection Bay. Successfully pulled out a vehicle, like the commander said, and discovered the body. In fact, a body was in that vehicle. We will be continuing taking lead on the death investigation at the Pearland Police Department, and that body will be transferred over to the Galveston County Medical Examiner's Office for further investigation. I would like to also extend some gratitude for the family of the deceased from the Pearland Police Department and the City of Pearland, and that's all I have for right now. Any other questions would be directed towards HPD.
Your first name?
I'm sorry. Jason Wells, W-E-L-L-S.
Can you say if the person found inside was a man or a woman?
At the time, pending investigation, we won't comment at this time.
Is there any indication as to how?
Yeah, whatever it is, she might have accidentally got in the water. Who cares? I mean, right now, speculating on, oh, wait, maybe she was texting. Maybe she was doing this. Maybe, who cares, right? It's, it's likely she just went into the water accidentally. Either, maybe she had a couple drinks with her friend. Maybe she was texting somebody in that same situation. Maybe she was doing this. Maybe she was doing that. But just based on what we're looking at, it just looks like it is an accident with a less likely being a suicide, and even more unlikely being something nefarious. Okay, but spending time wondering if she was on her cell phone, texting, and things like that really don't help out that much, right? No, it's not. It's not grumpy. It's just sort of like it's rabbit hole stuff that I don't do here because there's no. We can go maybe this, maybe that, maybe this, maybe that, and you know we do that for a second or two, but just to spend a lot of time talking about those types of things, just at this point don't mean anything.
In the water.
I can say with confidence it's been there for an extended period of time. Again, we don't want to get too far into the investigative tools that we use, but we do believe on or about the night that Ms. Hernandez went missing, it's likely that the vehicle went in the water.
Any foul play here that you guys are looking into? Can you always say that?
That would be the Pearland Police Department's investigation. At this time, given the condition of the vehicle and the extended nature of the scene, it would be very difficult at this time to make a comment on that.
Was there anything else, I know this is very new, but anything else found in the vehicle or anything you had a chance to go through it that was of interest? Or?
That's still part of the investigation. At this time, I can tell you that we have not located anything of interest. That does not mean that through the course of this investigation, Pearland will not find anything. We're just very early on, and in the spirit of transparency, we want to be able to give you all what information we had at the time.
Can you talk to us a little bit about the recovery? Obviously, it took several hours. I'm sure you have to be very strategic and precise as to making this recovery.
Exactly. So the dive team came out, located the vehicle. Pearland was responsible for bringing in a heavy-duty wrecker. Our dive team is trained in recovering vehicles. So yes, but to answer your question, it was a lengthy process to get the vehicle out of the water.
How deep is that water? How deep was the vehicle in the water?
So what we know from the engineers of the body of water, it ranges from 8 feet to 15 feet. I can't comment exactly how deep the vehicle was when we recovered it.
That's a retention pond?
It is a man-made lake, so to speak, that's surrounded by residences at the end of the neighborhood.
Do you know about what time it might have happened to where nobody knew?
Well, what kind of guardrail would you put in?
We do believe it was in the very early morning hours. Would have been dark, presumably, outside. So it's quite possible at that time that no one would have heard anything. But again,
yeah, because very earlier in the morning. Remember, it was really early in the morning. She was out. Yeah, she was hanging out with her friend, and then she left, and the friend checked up on her. I think that sort of indicates that the friend knew she had a couple drinks, and I think that's what we're going to come up with. Okay, it doesn't mean that that's what happened right there. We might not ever know exactly why the car went into the water right there. I think it's absolutely foolish for construction to be in a situation like this. This is exactly the same as that other case with the guy where the guy, somebody on Google Earth saw a car in a pond, and they went to they pulled it out and it solved a cold case, and it was exactly the same scenario. The car on a long straightaway like this, you could be going 40 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour right here, right? And you're just not paying attention, and then boom, you're right into the pond here. Okay, now normally you've got these nobody's going to do that here, there, anything like that. This is another case right here. That same thing might happen in this exact spot. A car going down, what is it? Emerald Bay Drive might be going too fast and then just fly right off the end into the water right there. Okay, but most of the time it doesn't really work like that. You know, driving from here, you would be going slow. You would know what you're doing, because that's a neighborhood, that's an actual cul-de-sac right there. So most of these places are like that, but then you do see these moments just like this one even. There we go. Now maybe those trees right there would block it. That's probably what they should do, is put trees and netting across well, it looks shitty though, right? I mean, I would just make them dense trees, and you know, if you hit the tree, you'll probably survive, right? But you go through into the pond and you can't swim or anything like that. What's wrong with the title? Okay, well I thought I got it right. We'll fix it later. Don't worry about it, Casey. Okay. You could just send me an email next time. Let's see. I thought it was cut and paste. Maybe it was the wrong. They spelled it wrong in one of the articles. Now you're buffering again? Jeez. Always buffering. Alright guys, so if you guys like to support the channel, you know, we got the channel memberships, super chats, and at the end of the month we donate a lot of money to charities. I say this because we actually prove it at the end of the month too. I even show the emails coming in and everything for the receipts, because there's a lot of people out there that just, they're trolls or something. I don't know what you call them, but they're people that are really you know, just, oh, come on, he never does any. Okay, I challenge you, you can even call any of the companies and see if it came in. I don't know, there's so many lakes out there, Elena. There's no problem at all, actually, in my mind. You know, they've been looking all around. I mean, how would you know that to check that one lake? Right? I mean, look up in the air here. Look at this. There are hundreds and hundreds just everywhere. That's all water right there. All of this. That's a pond there. This whole thing here is a lake and water. This over here are ponds there. There's just ponds, you know. Look at all these, okay? So you can't say that at all, you know. Have a little bit more faith in law enforcement. I think they do. Texas EquiSearch was out there. I messaged Tim Miller. I didn't talk to him. And, you know, I told him we were donating. He said, God bless. And, you know, I said, good luck in your search for her a few days ago. All right. Hey, thanks, Carol. Look at the flag. Hey, Carol, I don't know what your name, if that's really your name, but I actually am watching the whole series of Walking Dead again, and I'm just at the part where it's Tyree, Carol, and the two girls walking around now, you know, alone. So we're just about to that part. Okay. It's going to be good. Thank you, Kentucky Churt Guy and Rita Schaefer. Yeah, Tim Miller's awesome. I might even try to get a hold of him to see if I can record a little bit about this case and what it took to find the location. Because they thanked Texas EquiSearch. So I think that means that, you know, perhaps they were part of it. It's hard to say. Yeah, remember, look at the flowers? Yep. No problem in this account. Yeah, Carol did become a badass. It was pretty great. I don't know what it is. That show is just so gripping. You know, even when you watch it again, it's wild. And then I'm also watching Mayor of, what is it? East something. Mayor of East. I can't remember. I didn't like Negan before, you know. I think to like him when he was brutal, beating people's brains in, that makes you kind of psycho a little bit. But if you like him now, sure, you know, he seems like he's trying to help out a little bit. Yep. No, East Town, right? Yeah, there you go. I think it's pretty good, you know. It's definitely. I sort of figured out what was going to be going on pretty quick, but you know, they sort of set up 3 or 4 different people but they gave away pretty quickly what's going on there. So, you know, you kind of, I wonder where they're going next with it. Thank you, Scott Holland. Yeah, definitely not woke here. Yep, definitely not woke. Hey, if you guys, is there closed caption for anybody? Do you have to choose? I'm trying to figure out how to do closed caption for people. I do have this software. We want to see something cool, just for the hell of it. Watch this. So there's this software over here, and I think it might be. Do I have it on this one? Let's try it. Hold on. Hello? Testing, testing, testing. Okay, right there. Testing, testing, testing. I guess not. Hold on 1 second. I think that one works. Let me see if it... Yeah, it's right there. Why isn't it showing anything? I'm trying to see if you guys can see this. Yeah, it looks like it's the same window. Let me check this out. Yeah. It's interesting. You can actually see it all on this other screen right here. But for some reason, it's now not showing. Well, I'll show you what it looks like on this screen. Watch. See that? Wait, hold on. See right here? Testing 1, 2, 3. The freaks are awesome. Yeah. Oh yeah, and you know. See, it actually puts everything that you say with green screen and then you subtract it out, but for some reason it wasn't working right at that second. Okay, so this website here actually pretty much figures out what you're saying during the show and it puts it down there as closed caption. All right. So I'm going to try using this sometimes. And it would just sort of be part of the physical show, I guess. Let me see if I can get that to work really quick. Oh wait, testing. Well, now it's brown anyways. Okay, chroma key. Nah. I'm just goofing around here for a second. Let me try something. So it's gonna be screen, window capture. Boom. Okay. Bang. All right, there you go. And then you would go like down to just that amount right there. And yeah. So I could have that down there, then I put on the green screen effect, which would be the, let's see, color, chroma key, boom, and there you go. So there's closed caption right now, see that? Testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3, the Freakazoids are the greatest YouTube channel members in the history of the planet. See there, it works, right? All right, so I'll figure out, I don't know if I'll figure out where to put it. Maybe it could be on the top or at the bottom, something like that. At some point, all right? Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys that that's something that I'm trying to integrate at some point. But I thought YouTube did it automatically. Yeah, I thought they did it automatically, so I don't really understand that part. Okay, so. All right. Oh yeah? I'm moving from North Carolina to Texas this weekend, so is one of your lady YouTube friends. How do you know? What lady YouTube friend? I don't get it. Carol, don't understand that at all. Are you going with that person? Yeah. So I'm going to try to make it so that all the videos have it afterwards. So I don't know if I need it during the show, but maybe that would allow people that can't hear very well or don't want to have the audio playing. They can just read all my crazy comments. Yeah. All right. So there we go. We're going to move on now to the next case. Thank you, Scott Holland, again up there. Okay, it's Tristyn Bailey. So I might. Let me. If it is spelled wrong, I can fix it right now. Let me just check. Yeah, it's got an E in there. Hold on one second. How about the thumbnail? Do I have that right? Okay, should be fixed on that part of it. Let's check. Yeah, the thumbnail has it right. So not sure how it got lost in the translation. Oh, Trisha from Web Sleuths? Oh, Trisha from Web Sleuths. Why is she moving to Texas? That's so anti her politics. I don't understand that. It's strange. Yeah. I always think it's weird when people move. Like, I always think it's strange when people move from California because they don't like, even like liberals will move from California because it's too much like that. So they move somewhere else, and then when they go there, they vote in all the same stuff that they voted in when they lived there. And it turns it into the place that they left. Oh yeah, the Midlothian. That's where the that one case is. Yeah. Let's see. I'm conservative living in crazy Austin. Hey, that's where CrimeCon is this year. Might as well go there, right? Yeah. Alright, so now we're doing Tristyn Bailey here. 13-year-old Tristyn Bailey was stabbed to death, medical examiner says. And there was a kid named Aiden Fucci, 14. He was charged with second-degree murder.
New information today about the murder of this 13-year-old girl from St. Johns County, Tristyn Bailey. The sheriff's office now revealing how she died. And the 14-year-old boy charged with murder appeared in court today.
I'm going to order that Mr. Fucci be detained by the Department of Juvenile Justice in secure detention for 21 days.
Both of his parents appeared in this virtual court hearing as well.
We also received the arrest report today, and it gives a much clearer timeline of events in the hours leading up to Tristyn Bailey's death.
Here's what we learned today. The cause of Tristyn Bailey's death was sharp force trauma by stabbing. The manner of death, homicide. And investigators say they found multiple items of evidence at 14-year-old Aiden Fucci's home. News 4 Jax reporter Scott Johnson is joining us live from St. Johns County with what else the arrest report revealed. Scott.
Mary, memorials like this to Tristyn have been growing throughout the day, but so has the focus on what happened involving these two teenagers. We know that Aiden Fucci, he had surveillance video of him, investigators say. They say they have confessions from him after lengthy interviews, and we now know she was stabbed to death. Here's what we know from the arrest report of 14-year-old Aiden Fucci. Fucci changed his statement several times. Surveillance video from the Durbin Amenity Center shows at 1:14 a.m. two people resembling Bailey and Fucci walking north. A home surveillance system saw two people walking east on Saddlestone Drive around 1:45. One wearing shorts, a light color hooded sweatshirt, and Nike shoes. A second person wearing black pants and a black shirt. Then right before 3:30, only one person, the one in the shorts and a hoodie, recorded walking back the other way.
Yeah, so I actually have some of it. Let me get to that case here. A second. Yeah. So apparently they were at 1:14, they were down here at this rec center. And then at, I guess they're seen together walking at 1:45, walking this direction. And then at 3:27, only one of them returns, and that's the guy. And then her body was found right here. I mean, it's just really clear that he took her down here, probably, sexually assaulted her, killed her, and threw her in the pond right there. And there's literally actually a street view right in this area where you can, you can't see the pond, but it's right back in there, obviously.
carrying Nike shoes. When Fucci was taken in, he was put in an interview room with his mom. She asked about the shoes that he appeared to be carrying. He said he took them off because his feet hurt. Tristyn Bailey's body was found very close to Fucci's home, 0.3 miles. Investigators found several items in his bedroom consistent with what was seen in the surveillance video. That includes some items that appeared to have blood on them.
Madam Clerk, would you call his case, please?
In the interest of Aiden Fucci, 2021.
This morning, Fucci faced the judge with both his mom and dad in on the virtual hearing. We know his parents are divorced. He appeared to be living with his mom in Durbin Crossing at the time. The home continues to be surrounded by deputies and crime scene tape. I stopped by his father's most recent listed address on Jacksonville's west side to find no one home. It was behind a secure fence with security cameras and no trespassing signs that were likely in place before this case ever arose. Fucci's family has also hired a private lawyer who tells us they are not commenting at this time, and as...
Of course.
The community is angry. This is a very tight-knit community.
Yeah, this is what it sounds like. It echoes, okay? So they did whatever they're doing is exactly what happens sometimes on my end.
St. Johns County. And there's great families up there. So they've taken this personal. So again, all we can simply do is we ask, and I'm glad you said that too as well, is that let this case go through the process and go through the system. Let us do our jobs, let the medical examiners do their job, and let the state attorney's office prosecute this case. So I'm glad you brought that up, and please allow us time to do this. And again, let's not accuse people inaccurately. We have the suspect in custody, and we cannot bring Tristyn back. So we don't want to make this case and what it already is. It's bad enough as it is. So thank you. Yeah, one question at a time, please. Yes, ma'am.
Is the suspect facing any other charges besides second-degree murder?
At this time, again, very early stages. I'm going to keep saying the same thing over again. I hate to say that to you, but again, we're in the very early stages. So at this time, he is charged with second-degree murder. He is in custody, Department of Juvenile Justice. Can we add charges on?
I mean, they might go with first degree later. Second degree is just a given, right? He stabbed somebody to death. Could have been they got in a fight and then he stabbed, So that's just an automatic, obvious charge. It's not going to, nobody's going to go, oh, it's self-defense. Okay. Yeah, it was. So it's obvious second degree. Now, when they start investigating, it might turn into first degree.
Sure, that's a collaborative effort we would do with the Office of the State Attorney. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Now, tried as an adult was the correct words.
Sure. If you still have a tip out there that can assist us in this case, we're not going to stop you at all. Matter of fact, our criminal investigation division will follow up on every single tip. Again, we're trying to not release too much information because we still have tips that have not been worked. This is in the first 24, 48 hours of this investigation. These men and women have been out all night long in the criminal investigation division trying to follow these leads up, and we are not done following the leads up yet. Sure. So at this time, that is a decision that we made by the Office of the State Attorney, along with us and the family meeting together. But we believe as of right now, he's being charged. So at this time, that is a trying to follow these leads up, and we are not done following the leads up yet. Sure. So at this time, that is a decision that we made by the Office of the State Attorney, along with us and the family meeting together. But we believe as of right now, he's being charged with second-degree murder. And again, we'll work with the State Attorney's Office on seeing what they're actually going to do with that charge. Yeah, I'm sorry, 1 second, too. Just to follow up on that question, too, we want this process to be finished at the medical examiner's office across the street to add all of those findings together and then present it again to the State Attorney's Office and or grand jury. Yes, ma'am, sorry.
The victim we're told is a cheerleader. Is the suspect an athlete
So at this time, we're not going to get into victimology, what she's done in her past. We're trying to verify that, of course. And this is something private. No, I know I'm trying to cover back up, though, in the original part of that question. We want to make sure we're accurate, too, with her information, too, because I'm going to be honest with you. Her information is more important than his. So I really don't care what he did in the school system, whether it be sports or whether it be music. I'm more worried about Tristyn and her family. So as we get into the the background of the suspect, that will come out later on in the case. We're still working those leads.
You say there were witnesses. Were any witnesses directly at the time of the crime, or just people who saw them before?
And astonishing.
I think it's fair enough to say now that we believe we have, of course, our victim accounted for, unfortunately, and we have our suspect accounted for. The witnesses, of course, are just a cumulative getting the case together, indirectly or directly prior to. We believe we have everybody accounted for.
But was anyone there at the time of the crime?
We're in the very early stages of this. We have a suspect arrested, and we have, unfortunately, a 13-year-old girl that's no longer with us.
How much did surveillance play a part in getting you guys to an arrest?
Sure, I will tell you this, and I cannot thank our community enough. This is the relationship we have here in St. Johns County with our community. The community helped us solve this case. When I say they went to work, they went to work, whether it be on social media. I mean, we saw moms and families yesterday walking in the wood line in clothes like church clothes yesterday. This is how passionate they were about solving this case or helping us solve this case. You all were out there last night, I saw you. You saw families lining the roads. I mean, we had an influx of people trying to donate food and people coming from other parts of the county and the state, law enforcement agencies stepping up trying to help us out. This is a community that's very tight. As you all know, you know the circumstances surrounding this, where everything's kind of at. It's relative to each other. I mean, these kids went to the same school together. This is a very tight-knit community over there. And again, I can't thank our community enough. So between social media and I call it boots on ground, they went to work. And this case was solved because a gentleman saw the information put out there and went to work looking around his immediate area where he lives at. So we can't thank him enough and thank the community enough.
We'll take one more question. Are you able to tell us a little bit more about location? Then what is it? Is it closer to Veterans Park? Is it closer to the neighborhood? How far deep into the wooded area that it's looking like to go to CrimeCon?
Sure, and I'm going to leave that up to Director Cole if you want to answer any further of that.
I mean, all I could say is that once we put the mass notification out, people started looking. The gentleman that lived in the subdivision was out on his normal walk and jog, and he was doing a little bit extra digging in a remote area around a pond and located it.
Near the neighborhood or near the? Okay.
Yes.
Near his neighborhood?
Yes.
How did they know each other?
His classmates, and they all grow up in the same neighborhood.
Okay, so we appreciate everybody coming today. I'm going to finish with this. And I hope this is not a personal attack on the media at all. I'm just going to simply tell you this. Yesterday, I asked you nicely that we pay respect to the family as they grieve. And Tristyn's family, of course, listen, I understand your job, and I respect it. And most of you know that, and you've known me a long time. However, this morning, kindergarten, K through 8, Patriot Oaks Academy, that's 5 years old to about 14-year-old kids, were bombarded by media entering a school this morning. Some of them couldn't even get in there because there was so much media coverage out front of that school. I understand it. I respect it. But I ask you nicely to give them the opportunity to grieve. You think that 5-year-old child walking to school this morning knew what happened yesterday in Durban? Probably not. They do now because they're going to go home and ask their parents what happened. Again, this school is grieving. This community is grieving. Tristyn is not coming back. They loved her in school. We have a person charged for murder. So I ask you again. I ask you nicely. I asked you yesterday the same thing. That you give respect to the family. In the school up there, you've got a principal who's dealing with a large community of K through 8.
Oops, shit.
Parents and kids trying to grieve a murder, not a missing child anymore.
See, I like this guy. Yeah, this is how people should be. See, this is why I sound, I mean, I don't know, I'm not him, obviously, but I say similar things and I sound similar sometimes. And people go, God, Gray, you're such an asshole. Oh, golly.
By the way, a murder of a 13-year-old girl, Tristyn Bailey, who's not coming back. So I ask you again, please, give this school some respect so they can get the proper grieving in there for these kids.
Don't put out the bullshit that you put out all the time.
We can finish out this school year. Thank you for your time today. We appreciate you. As any other information comes up, you'll be notified immediately. As soon as we leave this press conference today, Parade Pass is going to forward you any information that was put out this morning,
you hear that, Harvey?
including the suspect's name and date and age and where he's currently located. Any other updates will come from Parade Pass. Thank you for your day. Have a good day. Be safe.
Oh.
St. Johns County Sheriff.
That's exactly how you should be right there. Where's the... I know that I have another one here. This probably was a better recording, I would imagine.
First of all, good evening. And this was not...
That was shorter, though. It's only a minute 38. There was a court hearing... Oh, yeah. What's this one?
Making news tonight, a community feeling...
Just a second. I know one of these had a... Oh, it looks like maybe they got rid of it. There was a court hearing he was talking in, but nah, it's not really that significant. He wasn't saying anything. He was just staring like a psychopath at the screen. You know, but I'll tell you this right now. Whatever that kid is, he's a monster, and he'll always be one. So I'm sorry, parents, that you think that if he just gets the right treatment. Okay? No. So what's going to happen is at some point, probably in the next 4 or 5 years, he'll get out of jail or prison, and there's going to be some judge that signs the paper, and you'll have these psychologists high-fiving each other, how great a job they did with their medicine that they gave the kid. And he's going to do it again at some point. All right? Thank you, Georgina Stoliker. He's going to do it again at some point. And that's where I always say, everybody, what's my golden rule? It is that either the psychologist or the judge has to have the person they're releasing live with them for at least a month after the release to ensure that their decision was correct. And won't it be amazing how much more time these psychos will get? They'll go, well, I mean, okay. Well, let me just see. I'm not really... Yeah. You want to see it? It's just like the people who love windmills, but just not in my neighborhood. Okay? They always put the bullshit somewhere else. Okay? So, yeah, you let them out because you know it has nothing to do with you. But when you let them out, everybody else has to deal with that psycho. Right. Yeah. Right. So anyways, sounds like they, they've got the right guy. I'm not going to really dig more into this case at all. It's he's arrested. They caught him. If something really psycho comes up in the media that there was some weird planning and crazy crap like that, I'm sure I'll do an update, but it's just I don't want to do a Chris Watts out of it. Alright, so we're going to be moving on to another case right now. Next one's though is from 1970, okay? Yeah, not my neighborhood, sure. Alright, so I'll be back in just a second. I don't have commercial breaks, but hey, what we'll do is we'll play this nice rap song for you guys while I go use the facilities. Yeah. This is almost like Too Short, right? The song Too Short. Fuck, I'm not a tease. I'm not a skis. I'm most definitely. Yeah, you guys do that one. I can't finish it because it's all bad. It's all bad. Yes, I washed my hands. Okay, I washed my hands. All right. Okay, I just was reading your comments. Yeah, wow, that's weird. So the other day they dropped charges on something, and then all of a sudden, in the Leila Cavett case, police are charging a suspect with murder in the case, 39-year-old Shannon Ryan. It's kind of weird because they dropped the charges just last week. You remember that? Or at least a week ago. He's also been charged with tampering with evidence. That was the charge that they did have. Ryan was already behind bars on... No, that's right. He had the child neglect charges. So I wonder why they dropped all those just to then put him back on him again. Maybe it was a completely different theory and wording, so they just wanted to sort of start over on that. But anyways, awesome. Excellent. Yeah, but they kind of just dropped everything. They didn't even have murder charges against him. Don't you remember? Anyways, let me get back to the... I'm moving on to another case now, okay? Yeah, I mean, really, I can't wait to just be able to put out that information on that crazy information on the Schneelberholzer case. All right. All right. Well, I need my island for me being so sweet, right? What do you mean? What about the up dog? What does that mean? Yeah, I'm supposed to have my island where I'm so nice to everybody that they want to put me on an island and buy me drinks. That's my next project. And maybe I'll even have one if that happens. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do this one right now. This is in Greeley, Colorado, way back in the day. Littleton, Colorado, actually. Well, I am nice, Candy. Your humor sucks, though. Your timing and delivery is terrible. I thought I was being nice. I think for my standards, I was being incredibly nice. But yeah, Candy, you got to work on your ability and you know, sort of your quality of humor. It's terrible. Gray.
See, Gray, you are so mean.
I don't know. Okay, cool, Candy. All right. Here we go. The nude and battered body of Marilee Burt, 15, of Littleton, was found in Deer Creek Canyon, west of here, Friday after, which is weird because, hey, it's got the same, oh my God, it's Deer Creek. Well, it's a different place, okay. Deer Creek Canyon, west of here, Friday afternoon, after she was reported missing some 18 hours. The daughter of Mr. and Mrs. N. Allen Burt of Littleton, the girl never returned from Thursday's cheerleading practice. Her body was found by a county highway employee about 1.5 miles west of Phillipsburg. Let's get that in there. So we're going to go to Phillipsburg, Colorado. This is not in there? County highway employee about 1.5 miles west of Phillipsburg. Oh, I guess it... Oh, Phippsburg, not Phillips. No, it does say Phillipsburg. I bet you that was an error, though. Phippsburg, and let me just see where that other place is. The article says Phillipsburg, but let's see if Littleton's anywhere near here. Then it would make sense. Yeah, maybe. I think that could make some sense. Let's just assume that it meant Phippsburg, because there's no Phillipsburg, Colorado. All right. All right, R.D. Perkins, investigator for the Sheriff's Department, said Miss Burt apparently had been beaten about the face, but her clothing was not discovered. Time of her death was not immediately determined pending an autopsy. The girl disappeared from Arapahoe County following the cheerleading session and was seen wearing a green pullover sweater with a large gold letter G on the front and green skirt. Miss Burt, a 9th grade student, was reported carrying a notebook and school books, but they were not found. Arapahoe County Sheriff Roy Vogt and Jefferson County Sheriff Harold Bray, I've seen, oh, it's hilarious. Hey, you guys. That guy's name right there, Jefferson County Sheriff Harold Bray. For those of you who are Megazoids, you'll remember that name from the actual story we read earlier. How weird is that? Hey, isn't that crazy, Dennis? That his name is in there. Sheriff Harold Bray. There's Dennis. Oh, really cool. Yeah, I don't know how I came across this story. I think Julie sent it to me. Julie Rule. It's wild, though. Huh. Arapahoe County Sheriff Roy Vogt and Jefferson County Sheriff Harold Bray said both their departments will be active in an investigation. Vogt said possible connections between Miss Burrell's death and the slaying of Connie Paris last March would be considered. He said Miss... let's see, what's the other name? Miss Paris was found also nude and badly bruised at the edge of Bear Creek Park in southwest Denver. Her clothing was never found either, he said. Isn't that the one I talked about that one time? I don't know. I can't remember now. Alright, so we got that article. Now let's move on to this one. Sheriff's officers of Jefferson and Arapahoe counties were searching Saturday night for a dark pickup truck or carry-all in the connection with slaying of 15-year-old Marilee Burt. A police helicopter from Denver also was used. Officers were concentrating their probe on two fronts: the slain girl's clothes, which still haven't been found Saturday, and the vehicle they said might have been used to transport the girl's body to where it was found. Coroner Ken Rainey of Jefferson County said evidence indicated the girl was strangled. The nude body of the little girl was found Friday beneath a bridge in Deer Creek Canyon west of Littleton. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I don't know if that's the right... And they said west of Littleton. Yeah, this is so weird. I've seen this before. What case is this one? Yeah, there's something so similar about some of these cases here. Now, so that's the Deer Creek area. And then Littleton. Okay. So it's somewhere around in this area, I guess. Let me just look at that again. Concentrating their probe on two fronts. The coroner said the examination showed the girl had been struck in the head with some sort of heavy weapon, but the skull was not fractured. Coroner Ken Rainey said evidence indicated the girl was strangled. The nude body of the Littleton girl was found Friday underneath a bridge in Deer Creek Canyon, west of Littleton. So, you know, this is the canyon right here. But, you know, how long does the canyon go? Like, the canyon could be clear up into here, you know. And we had another case that was right up in the same area with a bridge. Have we talked about this one before? I don't know. Doesn't sound like it. I don't think so. Let me type in her name. Burt. It seems familiar now for some reason. Marilee. Oh yeah, there you go. Here, watch. So this is one that we've talked about before. I knew it sounded really familiar. Okay, so right here in this area, Middlefield Road, and then we've got Deer Creek Canyon Park right there. And then we had the bridge that I found back then. I don't know if that looks like a bridge. Is there a bridge right there? Oh yeah, I totally remember this now. Yeah, she was found right down there. Okay, so since we've already covered it before, that's where she was found, down in this area. And then, look at this. Now they're putting out more information on it, so that's good that they're still talking.
51-year-old cold case in Arapahoe County are increasing the reward for information in a 51-year-old cold case. 15-year-old Marilee Burt was last seen alive in her cheerleading uniform leaving Goddard Junior High School in Littleton on February 26, 1970. She was speaking to someone in a vehicle stopped near...
Yeah, I don't have a feed, Douglas. I don't even know what you're talking about at this point.
South Middlefield Road. Decades later, still no arrests in her brutal murder. The day after she disappeared, police found her naked body in Deer Creek Canyon. Investigators say she was sexually assaulted and strangled to death. Fox 31 interviewing family members for the 50th anniversary last year.
We're hoping with the ancestry and all the new DNA that some of these cold cases are being cracked left and right, and we get, you know, a little bit hopeful. We're getting more hopeful again that someday we'll get a hit and we'll have some closure.
Investigators are now offering up to $30,000 for information that could lead to Marilee's killer. Contact our partners with the Metro Denver Crime Stoppers if you know anything about this.
So there you go. After 51 years, investigators, families, and friends are searching to find the person responsible for the brutal murder of 15-year-old Marilee Burt. So I think this is one of the ones we were talking about way back when Dennis was, like, we were looking into Colorado cases.
I am here in Sunnyside with the latest updates.
I wonder how old, what's his face was. He would have been probably too young. 10 years prior. I guess he could have been... How old was Alan Phillips in 1982? Wasn't he like 20? About 20, actually? No, he would have been I think he's 19. Okay, I was thinking, yeah, about that age. So it couldn't have been him then. So he was 19 when he murdered these two girls. That's crazy. When he murdered Schnee and Oberholzer. Seemed like he would have been older than that. I thought he was 20, like almost their age. Okay. So there's a reward of $30,000. Burt was last seen talking to someone in a vehicle that had stopped on South Middlefield Road. Her family began a frantic search and reported her as missing. Yeah, well, hopefully if they found her quickly and they did the right kind of... So how old is he right now? He must be almost 70 years old then. I thought he was 60 in my brain. I've so many names and faces and ages. So that was 82, would be 40 years. So he'd be almost 70 then, right? So definitely old enough then at 20, right? Definitely old enough at 20 to maybe get his first foray into it, and it's not too far away from the Schnee Oberholzer area, which is over right. I mean, it's right there, and this case is right in this area. So there you go. All right, now I'm switching to another case of 1995, January 13th. This one is pretty interesting. So the only two articles I could find on it way back when was this one and one other one. All right, this one is Mary Catherine Edwards. She was a teacher, had a identical twin sister. A Beaumont elementary school teacher was found dead in her West End home by her parents Saturday afternoon. Mary Catherine Edwards, 31, of Beaumont, Beaumont, was pronounced dead at about 2 p.m. Saturday by Justice of the Peace V. McGinnis. McGinnis then conducted an inquest. An autopsy is expected to be performed on Sunday. Beaumont police investigators are calling the death a homicide. The first homicide of the new year. Investigators are not commenting on whether there was a forced entry or not. Edwards was found by her parents at her home. So here we go. Let's get that in there. And her home was 1005, and this is in, hold on, let me give you the, interesting. It's in Odessa, Texas, Beaumont, Texas, actually. So let me get that address. 1005 Park Meadow Meadow Drive, maybe. Hmm. 100 Park Meadow. So it's Park Meadow, not. There it is. somewhere right around in here, I guess. Yeah, it looks like a really dicey kind of area. It's not really kept up at all. Alright, well, it doesn't land on a home, so I'm kind of confused at that. This is 1995. So I don't know exactly. Maybe it's referring to one of these buildings right here. Normally you have it land right on somebody's house, but it's not doing that here. So anyway, Edwards was found by her parents at her home. She was apparently living alone since her twin sister moved away after being married. Edwards was a teacher at Price Elementary School for several years. Her family has been in the insurance business in Beaumont for several years. McGinnis said, police are investigating the case as a very unusual one. No further details were available at press time. The case is under investigation. Well, they didn't even... There was like no more articles that I could find. And then we come to today. And then DNA leads to arrest of former classmate in brutal 1995 rape murder of Texas school teacher. That's her right there. So great news, everybody. DNA did it again. Clayton Bernard Foreman and Mary Catherine Edwards were casual acquaintances. They actually knew each other back then. The pair had graduated from the same school, Forest Park High School in Beaumont, Texas. Edwards had also stood alongside Foreman's... Look how weird this is. So Catherine Edwards here stood beside Foreman's first wife as a bridesmaid. So he was the killer was married before to somebody, and Mary was the bridesmaid of that person. And that was 1982 when he married his first wife, which is just a little bit after they got out of high school. Now Beaumont investigators in Texas, and by the way, the high school, Forest Park High School, changed its name later, became sort of a unified high school, and let's see, where is that? It's called it was Forest Park High School, but now it has a different name here. Maybe if I put places is on. Yeah, it's called Westbrook Senior High School. So that's the high school that they went to right there. I don't know why I even spent 30 seconds looking up that manhole. Not manhole. Rabbit hole manhole. Shit. That was from the case the other night. Edwards had also stood alongside Foreman's first wife as a bridesmaid. He probably kept scoping her out at the time. Now Beaumont investigators and Texas Rangers say DNA evidence and genetic genealogy have tied Foreman to the brutal 1995 rape and murder of Edwards, who had become a beloved elementary school teacher in their hometown. Edwards' identical twin sister, Allison Edwards Bracado, was also an elementary school teacher in Beaumont. Isn't that weird how twins a lot of times do the same thing? If you see another one of me walking around somewhere and she doesn't speak to you, don't get your feelings hurt. It's probably my sister, Edwards would tell her new students each fall. Foreman, 61 now, is charged with capital murder and Edwards' killing. The unemployed bill collector who was working as an Uber driver remained jailed Monday in Ohio, where he was arrested on April 29th at his Reynoldsburg home. So I actually went and looked at all the places he lived. This is because like we always say, people just don't do this kind of stuff once, right? So this is the house he was arrested at right here. And that's 100% because it matches the same picture that they have in the let's see what the street view here date is. So this is August 2019. He very well could have been living there right at the time, although it looks like he may have moved there a little bit later. Okay, I did find on Ben Verified that, look how crazy this is. So right around that time, hold on, let me get that back up. Right around that time that the wedding was, he had a rape charge on November 20th, 1981. The date of the offense was actually, July, and I'm not really sure. Looks like maybe pled guilty to the judge, and the offense was rape. So he was already, it shows right there, that was 1981, and her murder is 1995. So now you wonder how many people he may have assaulted or killed between that time and then after that. Okay, because once you start getting into your late 50s and 60s, you're not, there aren't as many serial killers in those later years. It's they sort of, I don't know what the term is, grow out of it almost. It's just pretty, like James DiMaggio, whatever the hell, not DiMaggio, James, what the hell's his name? The East Area Rapist, isn't that right? It's not DiMaggio, is it? It's something like D'Angelo. Yeah, D'Angelo, when he got older, he wasn't doing it anymore. But he killed all those different people. Oh, and here we go. Watch it. We all be typing at the same time. I already said D'Angelo. Might as well play the yeah, well, their hormones aren't kicking in. They don't have the same sort of desire. Yeah, I just don't think they have the same sort of drive either. A lot of it is sexually motivated sometimes, and right. What does Tommy Hilfiger got to do with it? That was a different case. Yeah. Okay. So anyways, he did have another rape charge in 1981. The rest of them were theft. He had 5 other charges of theft and whatnot. Writing bad checks. So it's just kind of a criminal. Yeah. So anyways, former classmates were stunned by the allegations against Foreman, who said was active in planning high school reunions. Foreman was in charge of the tributes to those former classmates who had died since graduation. Oh man, how ironic is that? I wonder what you would have put down for the one that you killed. According to 12 News Now, and God, what that is bizarre. I don't know if they were in the same grade. It sounded like they might have been. Doesn't it say up here that the pair graduated from the same school, but maybe not the same year. Edwards had also stood along Foreman's wife. Okay. The accused killer appears to be fighting extradition to Texas. Foreman refused to leave his cell for his extradition hearing on Thursday, the news station reported. A governor's warrant had been issued for his extradition, and a new hearing has been set for next month. Yeah. Let's see. So Edwards, 31, was last seen alive Friday, January 13th, 1995. All right. January 13th, 1995, according to the Texas Rangers. Floyd Broussard, Edwards' principal in Price Elementary, told the Beaumont Enterprise that Edwards was a diligent teacher. She would normally stay late at school preparing her lesson plan for the following class. According to reports, Edwards was seen leaving Price Elementary at around 5 p.m. the day she was slain. See, those are the two twins there. I guess two is being redundant. Twins means two, right? The Chronicle reported that Edwards went home, walked her beagle, as usual, and poured herself a glass of wine before calling her boyfriend. That was likely the last phone call Edwards made, according to the newspaper. Trying to figure out where that's coming from. Okay, then it says the Rangers said when Edwards did not respond to phone calls the following day, her parents went to her townhouse to check on her. Her father, Lum Edwards, went upstairs to find a horrifying scene, the Chronicle reported. Catherine Edwards' hands had been handcuffed behind her back, and she had been sexually assaulted. Her partially clothed body was draped over the edge of the bathtub, with her head in the water and her leg... God, we've had other ones just like this one. What was that one in Indiana that was just like that? You remember that? In that apartment complex? Do you guys remember the name of that one? It was in Indiana. It hasn't been solved. It's cold at this point. And it was in an apartment complex. Remember the girl, she had a blind date with somebody like on one of those message boards or something, and the person came over. She said he was kind of violent with her, and then he wanted to come over to say he was sorry, apparently, and then she ends up being killed almost exactly that same way. Remember that? Is that what it is? Kuntz? Let me see if that makes sense. I usually remember the details, but I can't remember the name, which is hard. Maybe a pizza guy. I don't know. I don't remember that. I'm looking right now. Wait. Isn't Kuntz the really old case? I'm talking about one from like 1980-ish. Oh, come on, Zozo. Yeah, jeez. How do we get to the... I don't think that's the one. I think you might be talking about Krutz, anyways. K-R-U. This is the one in Indiana. She had a blind date. It's one that I talked to Colleen about. That went bad. And she was at home, and it was up on a second floor apartment. No, it wasn't in the 60s. You're talking about a different case here. Maybe I can find it really fast. Indiana cold cases. I've got a ton of them. Linda, no, that's not it. We have the LaSalle Street murders. Maybe it was the unsolved Linda McDaniel. Hold on, that sort of sounds right. Hold on. Come on, open. What the hell? Wow, what a wild... Okay. I don't know, the Linda McDaniel one sounds right. That's not the one. Man, I don't know what the hell's going on. This folder's just chock full of stuff, and normally they're not. It's really bizarre. I'm not sure what's going on here. It's almost like it saved the website. Yeah, I think this is it. Linda McDaniel, 23, a first grade teacher. There you go. Yeah, that's right. She was a teacher at Wayne Township Maplewood Elementary School. Didn't show up. It was a Thursday. Her principal called her. Isn't that weird? That's kind of strange. Her principal called her. West Side apartment. No answer. Another teacher though, right? He called McDaniel's aunt, Mary McClellan. McClellan, 70 at the time, sensed to see summoned someone from the complex manager's office, and they forced open the door. They found the bathroom door locked, but once inside they found McClellan clad only in panties. McClellan was in a kneeling position and bent into the bathtub. I mean, isn't that... Man, if you were going to talk about an MO or something, that is like right on the money. Like almost a... cliche, a carbon copy of it. Hey, thanks, Brianna. Props. Look at that. Her hands were... we got to look at these together now. This is weird. So this is 1995, though. And it was in Texas. Okay, so right here. Listen to this. Catherine Edwards' hands had been handcuffed behind her back, and she had been sexually assaulted. Her partially clothed body was draped over the edge of the bathtub with her head in the water and her legs on the floor. This case. Her head was submerged in about 8 inches. Okay, McDaniel was in a kneeling position and bent into the bathtub. Her head was submerged in about 8 inches of water. A dish towel was stuffed in her mouth. Her hands were tied behind her back with the decorative red curling ribbon. Ribbon was found at a table with the supplies that indicated she had been making Christmas decorations. Huh. That's so similar, though. It's bizarre. I guess, really weird. That was 1977. This is 95. And this one is, this one's solved, though. So, I don't know, man. Maybe there's a book these guys give each other. I'm kind of impressed how quickly we are able to find the Indiana case, because it totally rang a bell. Normally it takes me forever to find something like that. Alright. Catherine Edwards' hands had been handcuffed behind her back. She had been sexually assaulted, just like the other one. Her partially clothed body was draped over the edge of the bathtub with her head in the water and her legs on the floor. So they actually have the probable cause affidavit here? I'd like to see that. Edwards had been drowned. She had about 3 dozen injuries to her body, indicative of a violent struggle, including finger-shaped bruises on her hips. The shower curtain had been knocked from its mooring. In the bedroom, the bedding had been torn from Edward's bed. Through DNA evidence, though DNA evidence had been found on the teacher's body and on other items in her home, she was killed in the early days of DNA technology. Yeah, so killers weren't even thinking about that back then. Thanks, Lee D. Detective turned to what was then a more traditional methods of investigation, including looking at the victim's life and those she shared it with. According to the Chronicle, Edwards had a squeaky clean background. Her days involved mainly around church, the gym, and her second graders at Price Elementary. Stephen Thrower, a retired investigator from the Jefferson County District Attorney, told the newspaper he recalled thinking, this can't be real. This can't be real. Nobody is this nice. Except Edward was, Broussard said. Her former students agreed. She loved us. She loved on us. Latoya Twine Ozane recalled. You'd feel comfortable and safe with her. She was just one of those teachers. Her smile made my day. So, let's see. Through the DNA evidence in the Edwards case was fairly degraded. Oh, look at Othram CEO. See, that's the lab that we used on the 1961 case. The forensic scientists were able to extract a tiny sample of the killer's DNA from the evidence still in storage. Cold case investigators then plugged the suspect's DNA profile into GEDmatch, a public genealogy database that has become an important tool for investigators over the past several years. Detectives and lab experts from across the country have been utilizing the database files to reverse engineer family trees for unidentified suspects in cases of murder and sexual assault. They use these trees to narrow the suspect's pool to people who were in the right age and geographical location at the time of the crime. Yeah, it's so cool. I know exactly what they do and what they go through to get it done, just from the little training that I've had so far. Investigators can then obtain DNA from their suspects to confirm or eliminate them as a suspect. Everybody was on board. Everybody loves a true crime story and they want it to be solved. Let's see. The data from the database along with the... Thank you, Ria Mazzarone. The data from the database along with fresh samples from relatives led to connections on both Foreman's paternal and maternal sides. The suspect pool was then, winnowed down to two men, Foreman and his brother. Detectives delved into the background of both men and found that Foreman's brother had no criminal history. The same was not true for Foreman and had pleaded guilty to assaulting a fellow Forest Park High School classmate. Oh, there it is. That's the one I found. He pled guilty to assaulting a fellow Forest Park High School classmate in 1981. See, that's exactly what that was that I found. He pled guilty to sexual assault 1981. Or rape, actually. And that was before he got married to his first wife. That's weird, we were saying that whole thing. According to court records, Foreman met up with the woman who was stranded at a gas station. Foreman, who told her he was a police officer, offered the woman a ride home. Instead of taking her home, he stopped his car, tied the woman up with a belt, and holding a knife to her throat, sexually assaulted her. There are numerous similarities in the 1981 case and the Edwards murder. Foreman claimed to be a police officer in the 1981 case, and in the Edwards case, the suspect utilized police tools of the trade, handcuffs. Foreman, who pleaded guilty to aggravated assault, received 3 years probation in 1981 case. Why would that person even marry the guy at that point? So there's that same house. After learning about the previous sexual assault case, investigators tracked Foreman to his home in Ohio. Last month, Ohio investigators surreptitiously collected trash from the can on his curb. So he probably put it out there on trash day, I would imagine. So DNA found on items in the trash match the genetic profile of Edwards' killer. These lab results confirmed Foreman is the suspect that entered Edwards' residence, bound her hands behind her back, sexually assaulted her, and subsequently murdered her. This is going to be another plead here. Broussard and Edwards, former students, remembered her for her smile, kindness, and her generosity. Well, good. Chalk one up for good old DNA. All right. And it really sucks that one of the, I don't know which one is which in here, but that one of them had to live without her identical twin sister for her entire life. Or, you know, after that anyway. Okay, so now we're going to move on to a 1998 case of a 91-year-old. We're ever really sure of the perp's guilt before DNA? I don't know. I don't think so. I think DNA is just, you know, if somebody's sexually assaulted, you know, it makes it hard when you're a sex worker and you're sexually assaulted. You could have multiple DNA samples inside you, or, you know, it's just the explanation of why you're a stranger to the person and you having DNA inside you or semen inside you makes sense because you are a sex worker and you'll have sex with random people. So you could literally say, oh yeah, no, I was with her an hour before, but then I went and, you know, I took off. And then they have to find other evidence. But in a case where, you know, it's a complete stranger situation where there isn't a sex worker angle at all, then the semen is almost 100%, if she was sexually assaulted, going to be from the killer of the person. So you get what I'm saying? I think we've talked about the Lover's Lane one. Alright, so these are all only newspaper or online articles, and I couldn't find any in the newspaper whatsoever. So this is from 2014 here. It is a crime that shook the entire buc-ee community. An elderly woman brutally murdered in the middle of the night. I can still remember it as if it was yesterday. Marilee was a patrol officer on June 30th, 1998, when he was dispatched to a home on Washington Street. Marilee was told someone was possibly in cardiac arrest, so when he arrived, he was not prepared for what he was about to see. There was several family members in the yard crying, upset. Leola Jordan, 91, was in bed, covered in blood. Marilee said Jordan's daughter had her arms wrapped around her mother's lifeless body. Everyone we talked to said she was a great lady, she was a godly lady, she was 91 years of age, kept to herself, and just the way she was murdered was horrible. Jordan was stabbed numerous times. It appears maybe she woke up and there was some type of altercation that occurred, and possibly after, whoever the suspect or suspects were After they committed the gruesome crime, they fled the scene. Police believe whoever murdered Jordan went into her house, through her front door. There was no forced entry, but family told police Jordan kept her door locked. There was no forced entry. Okay. More than 16 years after Jordan's murder, her house no longer stands, and no one has ever been arrested for her murder, but Marilee said it's a crime she has never stopped trying to solve. Alright, so that was the 2014, and then 2018. Oh, I hope I don't have to... Oh, shit. Oh, good. So I'm going to do a little trickery there. It's been 2 decades as the end of last month when the murder of Leola Jordan occurred at the home on Washington Street. Shanga Jordan, Leola's granddaughter, was 18 at the time and was 2 weeks away from graduating from nursing school. Leola was to take a plane the next day to attend her granddaughter's pinning. But 91-year-old Leola would never take that plane. So it says down below, due to advances in DNA evidence, Picayune Police Department Assistant Chief Jeremy Magri hopes that the evidence collected as part of the investigation, which has been submitted to the crime lab for DNA testing last year, will lead to an arrest. Ah, you guys did it again? Let me see. Leola Jordan. And
a Picayune man is behind bars after police say he violently killed one of his family members back in the 90s. Andres Fuentes spoke with investigators about how they finally made an arrest.
More than 2 decades ago, Picayune lost 91-year-old Leola Jordan, who raised 7 children.
Well loved by many.
The community leader met a gruesome...
I just realized why there was no newspaper articles about it. So isn't that just sick, everybody? See, I couldn't find one newspaper article on this lady. And the reason is because she's black. And the media and the newspapers back then just literally almost never covered any cases, and so that is a place that I definitely see, you know, some sort of a systemic problem. It's really disgusting, to be honest with you. There wasn't one article about it. Now, you know, if that was a Caucasian 91-year-old in the same situation, it would have been all over the place. People would be talking about it. There'd be shows on TV. Oh my God, look how crazy. But not in this case.
And found dead in her home with multiple stab wounds back in 1998. Since then, police have been looking for answers and suspects.
This is one of those cases in this city that has been alive and well for the 23 years.
The department took another crack at the case starting in October.
I've always been fascinated with this case and said that I would open it up one day.
This time, investigators got help from the TV show, Cold Justice.
They're able to bring, some things that we just don't have access to.
One of those things, speedy DNA tests.
Back in 1998, just wasn't heard of.
With new tests and previous witness statements, police arrested Jordan's grandson, Sergio Williams, for her murder.
And that's why she let him in. That's why he didn't have to break in the front door. Do you see that? There was no forced entry. And you kind of wonder, what in the hell was he doing? Why would he kill his 90? Was there a life insurance policy that what, 91?
If DNA would have been available like it is today, back then it would have been solved then.
The combined efforts of the Picayune police investigators and the TV show brought a sense of closure to a community after decades of mystery.
And what was the DNA source? Did she fight back, get some skin underneath her fingernails? Because I can't imagine it being a sexual assault. I mean, a 91-year-old grandmother of him? That just wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Mystery and misery.
I'm just happy to be able to bring justice to Leola Jordan.
Officers hope to use what they learned during this investigation and apply it to others.
Believe me, they want to solve every case, and they work.
Yeah, but I mean, she let him in, so he just went there and he was going to kill her. Just, I don't know. It seems pretty bizarre. Goes into the house, kills her so he can rob her.
Card every day to do that.
Reporting in Picayune, Andres Fuentes.
I mean, that's likely something, but it's also kind of odd. Seems like he would have snuck in, but I guess she would just let him in because she knows him. And then he said, well, I got to kill her now because I'm going to be stealing stuff. What a joke. Jesus. Freaking monsters everywhere. For more than 2 decades, police have worked to make an arrest in the case. On Sunday, her grandson, Sergio, was officially taken into custody and charged with Jordan's 1998 murder. Jordan raised 7 kids and was well loved. Wouldn't you hate to be the parent, the sibling who raised the monster that killed your own mom? God. Think about that for a second. So one of her 7 kids gave birth to this monster right here, and then he killed the mother of... Oh, God, man. Just try to picture that. One of your kids killing your mom. It's horrendous. So Jordan raised 7 kids and was well loved in the community. Captain Rhonda Johnson said she opened Jordan's case up in October of last year and began reviewing old interviews with witnesses. Thank you, empathic vid intuitions. Man, you gotta change that to like something else. Like I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I have a hard time with that one. I've always been fascinated with this case and said I would open it up one day. With the assistance of television show Cold Justice on Oxygen Network, the investigator was able to send off old DNA in March to a testing facility that could process it faster. Probably the same one that we just Otham Lab. They were able to bring some things that we just don't have access to. The DNA, along with previous witness statements, gave police the evidence they needed. It appears maybe she woke up and there was some type of altercation. So maybe he had a key because he's a grandkid. Maybe got it from his parent. But they think that she was woken up and then there was some sort of an altercation that occurred, and possibly after whoever the suspect or suspects were, after they committed the gruesome crime, they fled the scene. And that's what one of them said back in 2014. So that sort of gives you a hint of what they think went down. Maybe there was more than one person. I don't know. Maggery was a rookie patrol officer at the time when he was dispatched to Jordan's home. At the time, police said they believed the suspect went into Jordan's house, the front door. There was no forced entry, but family told police Jordan kept her door locked. Right. So, wouldn't it be likely that this killer here, his parent, would have a key to their mother's home, which would be Jordan's home, right? So, and then maybe he got a hold of that key and knew which one it was, and then went over and let himself into the house. That makes more sense to me. All right. Anyways, I'll be back in just a minute again. Yes, and don't forget to support your local YouTube channels. You know, the ones that actually donate a lot of money to charity at the end of the month. All right, let me get that rap going again. What? Crack money? What do you mean? Thank you. Dan Carr and Rita Schaefer. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I was walking down the street and I had to stop, pick up the radio and drop the top.
Wow, looks like John Boy was trying to bust out a rat. Yeah. Zozo hates John Boy. God, that's so mean. You know, it's so mean. Just like me.
Gray, you're so mean.
Alright. So we're going to move on to another one. So that was good news. Another case solved. So this one's a little bit longer here. Yeah, this one was kind of tough for me. I wasn't really sure what direction to go. It was kind of a little... It's just kind of difficult. It's a Jane Doe, another sort of what we're trying to do. But it turns out that it was they believe it was one of the victims of the, I think it's like the Great Basin serial killer. Somebody that's already been arrested. So here we go. These are the original articles that were in the paper a long time ago. 1985, September 12th, in Missoula, Montana. A hunter pursuing a bear discovered a human skeleton with bullet holes in the skull in a dry creek bed in the Crystal Creek drainage, authorities said Wednesday. The Missoula County Sheriff's Office is investigating the death as a homicide, Captain Larry Weatherman said Wednesday. We're guessing it's a small male, but that's only a guess, said Weatherman, who added that the bones had some teeth are being sent to the state crime lab at the University of Montana Anthropology Department for identification clues. The man who found the remains, Missoula resident Andrew Rice, said Wednesday he was hunting bear in the Crystal Creek area, which is about 3 miles west of Tura. So let's see, let's go to Tura, Montana. Does that sound the same as it used to sound to you guys? Sounds like it doesn't have the same punch to it. Right, so here's Tura, Montana. And they said 3 miles west. So I don't know if they mean like that or driving west on there, but at least we've got Tura there. He said he thought the bear, which collapsed and died about 10 feet from the skeleton. Wow, what are the odds of that, man? That's sort of like in the Delphi case, the deer. Look at that crap. He said he thought the bear, which collapsed and died about 10 feet from the skeleton, stepped on the skull while running. I picked the skull up and it had bullet holes, said Rice, adding that several of the teeth contained fillings. Rice dragged the bear out of the area and later notified the sheriff's office of the skeleton. Weatherman said the remains were on top of the ground about 100 yards from Crystal Creek Road. Okay, let's find that. So we've got that. Now we just got to go to Crystal Creek Road. Oh, wow. Look how close that is. So, Crystal Creek Road, does it kind of keep going up into here? Yeah, Crystal Creek Road. And is that Crystal Creek Road? Yeah, so it's still, that Crystal Creek Road kind of just, it's actually all the way down here too. So we'll just put a pin on Crystal Creek Road. Hello, 7. Hey, 7, do you know if 8 will be here later? That is the stupidest. That was so bad. That was just, oh God, that was so dumb. No, not sure, but 9. Oh, there you go. Okay, you got it. You got it. Oh, man. Woo! That was good stuff, huh? Oh, look at that. Nobody 8-9. Ooh, bam! See, Dan Carr's always got the little wordsmithing going on. He still hasn't written my rap yet, though, okay? So just take the ending music and you come up with your own rap using individuals' names in the chat too. Just throw a few in there. All right, and then after you send me that, we'll send you some more. I don't know, maybe maybe I'll even send you a hoodie or something. Another one. That's if it sounds good, okay, bud? We got to make sure you're fully vested in it. Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Put stuff like that in there. If it bleeds, you could kill it, or we can kill it. Something like that. Anyways, all right. So then Rice dragged the bear out of the area and later notified the sheriff's office of the skeleton. Weatherman said the remains were on top of the ground about 100 yards from Crystal Creek Road. Investigators found no clothing, jewelry, or other identifying items. So it said right here, a skull in a dry creek bed in the Crystal Creek Drainage Authority said Wednesday. Small male, The person, you said, probably died within the past year. According to the weatherman, the skeleton could have some connection with the remains of a 17-year-old female found last December 24th in the same area. He said he thinks the age of both individuals was about the same. That's interesting. He said investigators thought the earlier remains had been in the area since the summer of 1984. Another body was found in the same area. Let's see. Same area near Beavertail Hill off Interstate 90 in February 1980. The victim was identified last February as Devonna Nelson, a 15-year-old girl from Seattle. She is believed to have died from stab wounds in the chest. Weatherman said he expects to have some laboratory results on the newly found skeleton within a week. Let's see. We're guessing it's a small male, they said. The remains were found by Missoula resident Andrew Rice. He said he thought the bear, which collapsed. Okay, we got that. It picked the skull up and it had bullet holes. Rice dragged the bear out of the area. Yeah, we already said that. The person probably died within the past year. So that seems like a similar article. Then we've got one from 6 months later. A good cop's job often amounts to hoping for the best while preparing for the worst. A version of that philosophy has led Captain Larry Weatherman to learn what some might consider a gruesome art: how to reconstruct facial features of unidentified decomposed bodies and skeletal remains. The chief of detectives for the Missoula County Sheriff's Office really doesn't want to practice his new skill, but since the rural eastern part of the county appears to be a favorite dumping spot for unidentified murder victims, he decided he'd better be ready. In the last 15 months, the remains of 2 young women, both with bullet holes in the skulls, have been found about 3 miles apart. Given similarities in the 2 murders, it is possible the same person or persons killed both women. It also means more bodies may be in the same area. The MO's, method of operation, are close enough that we think that's a possibility. Weatherman said they were both found without clothes, jewelry, or any means of identification. Weatherman said the calibers of the murder weapons possibly were the same, but he couldn't be sure since no bullets were recovered in one of the killings. The first of the 2 bodies was found on Christmas Eve, 1984, by a wildlife photographer who noticed leg bones. And hey, that's a new field that might find bodies, wildlife photography, but except they're not really looking down too much.
Well, that's not true, Gray. What if they're filming moss or some kind of grass?
Okay, well, you know what I'm saying, right? By a wildlife photographer who noticed the leg bones and the top of the skull protruding from a shallow grave in the Deer Creek area, referred to as Debbie Deer Creek. That's what they called her, Debbie Deer Creek. The woman's remains had to be chiseled from the frozen earth where Weatherman thinks they were placed the previous summer. He believes Debbie was 16 to 18 years old, white woman, possibly slightly Native American features. She stood about 5'4" and probably weighed about 140 pounds. Her hair was auburn when found, but had been dyed several times. A hunter pursuing a bear in the Crystal Creek area stumbled across the second woman's skeleton last September 9th. This victim, dubbed Christy Crystal Creek, also could have been dumped in the summer of 1984. So there was a Debbie and Christy Crystal Creek. Also could have been dumped in the summer of 1984. Forensic analysis of the remains indicates Christy also was white, but might have had slightly Asian features, which Native Americans are related to Asians. And the way that works is, let me show you this on a map really quick here. For those of you who don't have the geography lesson here. See, Asia's up in here, right? Well, when the Ice Age happens and the water leaves the ocean and comes on as ice on the land, the water sinks enough where people could actually walk from Asia across. So 10,000 years ago, there was a land bridge right here where you could actually walk across from Asia into here, and the Eskimos that you see now that look sort of Native American, they all come down, they've made their way down this direction, and that's why Native Americans have somewhat of Asian features sometimes, right? Yeah, I said land bridge. Why are you guys all typing in the same thing I just typed in when I said it? You know, it's strange. It's really strange. All right, so anyways, that's why there's Asian features on some of these Native Americans. You can even see it when you look at old photographs from 1800s. You know, you look at them and you go, wow, it looks a little similar to Eskimos, and Eskimos look similar to Asians because they are ancestors. That's how they actually got here. Okay? A third set of skeletal remains, those of a teenage girl who apparently died of stab wounds to the chest, was discovered in February 1980 along Interstate 90 at the eastern edge of Missoula County near Beavertail Hill. In February 1985, weathermen succeeded in identifying the remains through dental records as those of 15-year-old Seattle runaway Devona Louise Nelson. Okay, so then I'm going in chronological order here. A new clue to old murders. Missoula authorities are re-examining numerous unsolved murders since 1974 to check for similarities with the attack on a Missoula couple Thursday in which the assailant was killed. So the actual killer here was killed. Just like the Long Island serial killer possibility, that one sex worker who killed the guy who was about to kill her. And late Friday night, Ravalli County Sheriff Dale Dye said he believes the assailant in the Missoula attack, Wayne Nance, is the man responsible for the brutal murders of a Hamilton couple last December. Nance, a 30-year-old East Missoula truck driver, wow, what a shocker, huh? Died of gunshot wounds to the chest and head that he received in a struggle with Doug Wells between midnight and 1 a.m. Thursday. Nance, who worked for Wells' wife, so the serial killer here, worked for Wells' wife, Kristen, at Conlin's Furniture Store, entered the Wells' home under the pretense of needing a flashlight to find something he had lost in their yard. Inside, Nance clubbed Doug Wells over the head, tied up both his victims, and stabbed Doug Wells in the chest after dragging him to the basement of their West Side home. However, while Nance was upstairs with Kristen Wells, her husband freed himself, got a rifle, and shot Nance in the side with the only bullet he had. In the ensuing struggle, Wells broke the rifle stock over Nance's head, but Nance pulled a .22 caliber pistol. 3 shots were fired. One hit Wells in the leg, another hit the ceiling, and the last struck Nance in the head. Wells broke out his rifle stock, Nancy's head, but Nance pulled out a .22 caliber pistol. 3 shots were fired. One hit Wells in the leg, another hit the ceiling, and the last struck Nance. How would his own gun shoot himself in the... I don't even care, though. Doug Wells underwent surgery for his wounds Thursday, or maybe that was the shot from Wells' gun. Doug Wells underwent surgery for his wounds Thursday afternoon at Missoula Community Medical Center and had improved somewhat Friday from his original serious but stable condition. After Nance's death, authorities revealed that he was one of the prime suspects in the April 1974 killing of Donna Pounds, wife of a fundamentalist minister. Her husband Harvey, who died last year, and also a suspect, reported finding her bound and gagged body in the basement of their West Riverside house. On Friday, weathermen said that his staff was working with Ravalli County Sheriff Dye to try to determine a link between Nance and the deaths of Mike and Teresa Shook last December 12th in their home. The Shooks were stabbed repeatedly. They had been bound but were not when found. Later Friday, Dye announced that those links, a ceramic elk, and a hunting knife that had been taken from... Okay, so there you go. Later Friday, Dye announced that those links, a ceramic elk, a hunting knife that had been taken from... There we go. Taken from the Shook's home, had been found in Nance's residence. Well, that's pretty much, you know. There you go. He has the same MO, and then you find items from 2 other victims. Okay. Before Dye's announcement, Weatherman said, "I think we're particularly interested in Pounds and Shook's, but there's some other over the years that we'll eyeball. The other murders include the separate killings of 3 young women whose bodies were dumped in eastern Missoula County in the last several years." Hey, thanks, Reviewed Popcorn. No, I don't. I don't think he had a kill kit. Alright, anyways. Let's see. The other murders, including the separate killings of 3 young women whose bodies were dumped in eastern Missoula County in the last several years, the February 1974 beating, stabbing, and sexual assault of 5-year-old Siobhan McGinnis, a Missoula girl whose body was found in a gully near Tura, and the Easter 1976 beating, sexual assault, and stabbing of Verna Gvale, 37. Weatherman also plans to check with law enforcement agencies nationwide. So, you know, I mean, this guy, they're already looking at him as a serial killer. Hey, let me ask you something, Reviewed Popcorn. Is there any other cases you're interested in? I mean, we spent the entire night talking about all these different cases, and your one question comes in about Delphi has nothing to do with what we're talking about. So try to, expand your horizons a little bit. Try to be interested in other cold cases out there, other cases. Maybe you can help spread the word on those. That'd be great.
Gosh, Gray, you're so mean to your subs.
Hey, listen. I'm just saying it like it is. I always find it strange that right in the middle of talking about something else, hours into a show, you get people who show up and start talking about Delphi. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. So that's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to be absolutely, if I'm just telling you the way it is, absolutely telling you the truth. Okay. Well, thanks, Reviewed Popcorn. I'll take some of your popcorn though. All right. But no, I don't think the guy put a kill kit somewhere. It looked like he had plenty of stuff underneath that jacket. He isn't Israel Keys, all right? Thanks, Rita Schaefer. Knife ceramic figure linked Nance to deaths. Authorities have linked a man killed in a violent struggle at a West Side Missoula home Thursday morning with the December 12th murder of Hamilton couple. See, that's just so... Think how bizarre this is right here. See, he goes in there, tries to tie them up, but the husband lived, and he kills Nance while he's sexually assaulting his wife. And then they realize the similarities between this and another case that actually ended up in the murders of 2 people. Then they go to Nance's house and find these, this figurine and other items in Nance's house, which then links him to both of these now. Now you know he's a serial killer type person. Thank you, Rita Schaefer. We took in a ceramic boogling elk figurine and an elk horn handled custom-made Keljan hunting knife, Dye said. Anyways, I'm going to move it down. I'm going to go a little bit further into these articles. Killer linked to 4th slang. So now we've got more here, okay? Another skeleton was hauled Thursday from Wayne Nance's closet of horrors. at an afternoon press conference, Missoula County Sheriff's Captain Larry Weatherman said he had conclusive evidence that Nance murdered an unidentified woman whose badly decomposed body was found in a shallow grave east of Missoula in 1984. And for the first time, Nance, who was fatally shot while attacking a Missoula couple in their home September 4th, was officially labeled a serial killer. I think we can assume that we're heading in that direction, Weatherman said, when asked if Nance deserved that title. Nance's potential as a mass murderer has also led the FBI to take an interest in the case. Special Agent Brent Warburg, an FBI expert on serial killers, told the Missoulian Thursday that he plans to come to Missoula to talk to Weatherman about Nance. The FBI will put together a personality profile of Nance and compare it and his crimes to other unsolved killings in the Northwest and anywhere else Nance might have traveled. We want to find out if he's been on the road, Warburg said. The physical evidence linking Nance to yet another murder is a hair found in a door hinge on Nance's pickup topper. The head hair is microscopically identical to those on a body found by a photographer in the Deer Creek area in Christmas Eve 1984. The young woman had been shot in the head several times. While human hair is not as positive an identifier as fingerprints, it comes close. So, now they're onto him as a serial killer. And a couple months after that, so Wayne Nance was a prime suspect in a murder when he joined the U.S. Navy in 1974. But while he was never prosecuted on the murder charge, his troubles didn't end, Navy records show. Nance, a suspected serial murderer who was killed earlier this year, was in trouble frequently during his naval career and eventually received a misconduct discharge before his hitch was up. According to Navy records, he had a spotless record until he went to nuclear prototype school in Idaho in 1975, where he was kicked out after 2 days for having a demonstrative. He demonstrated unreliability. That's weird. He was reassigned to a ship based in San Diego, and his record was again clear until September 1977, when he was found with marijuana and was reduced in rank. 2 weeks later, he was found with more marijuana, LSD, and illegal knife and stolen binoculars. He was probably killing people at the time. He was again fined, further reduced in rank, restricted for 30 days and given extra duty. And on November 29, 1977, he was given a general discharge by reason of misconduct. Nance Navy record were acquired by the Missoulian under the Federal Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA. Nance victims testify. Now, this is the guy right here. I thought this would be interesting to read. This guy right here, he's the one that was shot. This is at the trial. He's the guy that was shot and then went up and then he killed Nance, right? So this guy right here, they should have a t-shirt, wording that says hero right on the front of that. Yeah, you missed the entire show, Cleopatra. But yeah, we're not much. Not much at all. After his assailant had pummeled his head with a lead club, stabbed him in the chest, and left him tied to a basement post, Doug Wells thought he was dead. I assumed I was dying, Wells said Thursday. I remembered something about dying with my eyes open. I've always had this thing that people shouldn't die with their eyes open. That's not nice, and I thought I was going to do that. His death premonition turned out to be premature. The 34-year-old Missoulian gunsmith temporarily overcame the wounds to prevent Wayne Nathan Nance from adding Wells and his wife Tristyn to his alleged list of murder victims. I'm not sure. Maybe this is just like a coroner inquest or something. I mean, Nance is dead. In a calm and unwavering voice, Doug Wells gave a detailed description of the 90-minute nightmare that ultimately led to Nance's death at the Wells, Missoula home September 4th. During an inquest into Nance's death, Missoula County Attorney Robert L. Descamp led Doug and Tristyn Wells through their first public testimony into events surrounding the night of violence that apparently stemmed from Nance's infatuation with Tristyn. Tristyn told jurors that Nance, who worked for her at Conlon's Furniture as a warehouseman, appeared to be lost in his own world the night of the attack. I didn't recognize Wayne at first because his face was distorted with anger. So that's what I was thinking about. I was talking to Dennis today about Alan Phillips. You know, he looks sort of like this little sheepish looking kind of dopey. You know, he doesn't look like a killer at all, but you sort of wondered, did he have a different face that night when he was killing Annette Schnee and Bobby Joe Oberholzer? She repeated much of her husband's account of the attack, telling jurors that Nance tied her to a bed. So this is the wife right now. So Nance tied her to a bed before taking Doug to the basement. Then he took Doug down to the basement. From the bedroom, Tristyn said she could hear her husband's screams of pain coming from the basement. When I heard the first shot, I thought he'd killed Doug. She said, her voice cracking with emotion. Then I passed out. When she awoke moments later, Tristyn saw Nance and Doug Wells involved in a battle that ended when Nance was mortally wounded in the head. It wasn't until much later that Tristyn learned how her husband, on the verge of death, had freed himself from the post, grabbed a rifle, and slowly made his way upstairs where he confronted Nance. Testimony from the couple and local law officials, the jury of 3 men and 3 women deliberating only 15 minutes before determining that Nance's death was justified. Oh, so it was a trial against him. Right, I see. Okay. Doug Wells, yeah, for like attempted murder, whatever, but it's obviously, absolutely, they didn't even need to do a trial. They shouldn't even have pressed charges, but maybe they wanted to get it all on record. Yep. Doug Wells acted reasonably in the defense of his home, himself, and his wife, the jury ruled. The jury also determined that Nance died when a bullet from his own, see, it was his own gun, .22 caliber handgun, struck him in the head. So I wonder how that actually happened. Authorities believe that Doug Wells caused Nance to shoot himself when Wells repeatedly struck the intruder with a rifle as Nance was trying to fire the pistol. Man, what fortune that is, right? Besides being beaten and stabbed, Doug Wells also suffered a gunshot wound in a leg during a violent struggle with Nance. Wells, who walks with a limp from the wound, said in an interview after the inquest that it was a relief to tell his story publicly. With everybody here, it all came out in the open. Now we can get along with our lives, he said, adding that although he feels fine, more surgery is scheduled to try to repair injuries to the leg. Tristyn told the jury that aside from bruises and rope burns to her wrists, she was not injured and was not sexually assaulted. I thought in one article it said that she was, maybe he was in the process of starting or something. Authorities say they have linked Nance to at least 4 murders in the Missoula area during the past 12 years. Yeah. In 2006, moving 20 years further into the future. So here's her girl is never far from Sidney Bacon's thoughts. The girl lives in Tupperware box, and right now the box is in Hayden Lake, Idaho, with a University of Montana student who is studying her. But she'll soon be returned to Missoula for what Bacon and others hope will be the next step in figuring out who she is. Sidney Bacon, who has a master's degree in forensic anthropology, I don't think I'm going to read this whole thing, but from the University of Montana, and works for the Lolo National Forest, knows the girl better than almost anyone. She detailed everything about her for her master's thesis, but someone somewhere knows her better. Someone knows the name that goes with the bones in the box. It is very upsetting to me that she is not on a missing persons report somewhere. It's upsetting to me that there's no member of her family who seems to care about her. For now, the girl is known by several other cases, Christy Crystal Creek. So right now they're talking about this case that we've been talking about. This is the 1985 case, Christy Crystal Creek, a possible victim of the East Missoula serial killer Wayne Nance. See right there? So they think that she may be a victim of Wayne Nance. It is the connection to Nance, who killed at least 4 people and was himself killed as he tried to murder 2 others in 1986, that recently resurrected interest in Christy. For more than 20 years, Christy was essentially the soul sister of another young woman known as Debbie Deer Creek. Debbie's nude body was found in Deer Creek drainage by a photographer on Christmas Eve 1984. Christy's remains were found by a bear hunter 9 months later, scattered across a hillside in Crystal Creek, 1 drainage over from Deer Creek. 2 months ago, Debbie was identified as Marcy Bachman, a 16-year-old runaway from Vancouver, Washington. All right, so anyways, I'm not going to read this whole article. They're just yeah, I mean, this is prior to genetic genealogy, right? And then we've got, this is the, so, oh, look at, only unidentified victim of Missoula suspected serial killer Wayne Nance. And so it says she's known as Jane Doe. This is actually the, I wonder if that's what the officer learned to do, is make things like that in that previous article. So that was a 2020 article, and then today we've got, and that's the actual person. You just saw it in the last article, but Sheriff ID's remains found 36 years ago near Crystal Creek. The Missoula County Sheriff's Office Monday has identified the remains of a woman found nearly 36 years ago near Crystal Creek. She was identified as Janet Lee Lucas, no relation to Henry Lee Lucas, or at least not that I know of. According to a release from MCSO, a bear hunter found her remains near Crystal Creek in September 1985. Her remains could not be identified after an in-depth investigation. The Missoula County Cold Case Unit paired up with Othram Labs to do a DNA analysis, was funding from a Montana Department of Justice Sexual Assault Kit initiative. See, we're having our own fund that we're using for Colleen Fitzpatrick to use for identifiers, using Othram Labs too. So Lucas was born October 1960 and grew up in California and Washington with several siblings. It's weird, the Washington connection with the other case too. Detective Captain Conway said after talking to Lucas's friends and family, he determined Lucas was last seen in Sandpoint, Idaho in the summer of 1983. So she was found a couple of years after she was disappeared. And here is Wayne Nance. I'll actually open up this Murderpedia page here. Wayne Nance is one of the few unlucky serial killers to be murdered by his final attended victims. Unfortunately, it would be too late for at least 3 people that saw their lives snuffed out by the homicidal Montana man. So, number of victims 6. Let me type in Christy, or is it Chris? I don't remember what it was, but let's see. Yeah, so there's a Jane Doe, 1984. We're connecting them to. Yeah, I definitely would throw in. I think this Lee Lucas case is definitely related. Yeah, they haven't added that in there yet. Hey, thank you, Leah Furness. Gray and Freaks, I'm so glad you all are up at this hour. I'm stocking the thirds at Walmart and really needed this live. Well, it's not going to last much longer though. It's only 2 hours and 37 minutes in. Plus, I did another show earlier today for the Megazoids. So, have you been watching the whole time, Leah? Have we got you through some of your shift? Yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys found those stories interesting tonight. I'm going to carry over the last one to another one. It's the Joe Bova car bombing case. That one looks like... Well, you know what? I'll do it because it's not that long. Alright, so... I'm going to do it. It's only got 3 articles and then the final thing. So, here we go. We'll try to figure out what we think this one is. So this is 1989, September 13th in Indiana. All right, you guys ready? Yeah. Well, I do a lot of hours on here, that's for sure. I'm the hardest working true crime guy out there. I actually really believe that. Yeah. Just don't be swindled and snookered out there by a couple grifter YouTubers, alright? I keep trying to warn people, but I think in reality, they're just going to have to find out themselves. When you'll figure it out on your own at some point. All right, here we go. Joe Bova. People who knew Joe Bova, a local labor leader. I think the labor leading of a, sort of a labor union deal, I think this has something to do with it. They don't seem to ever say that, though. People who knew Joseph Bova, a local labor leader, killed Wednesday in a bombing incident here, were interviewed that day by officials to try to learn why and how the man died. Helping Maryville police investigate the crime were agents from the ATF and the FBI. Bova, 43, Secretary-Treasurer of Laborers International Union of North America, Local 81, in Valparaiso, was blown out of a 1970 Ford pickup truck parked outside his home at, I think I have some of this. Yeah, there it is. And this is going to be the home right here. So it's that house right there. Hey, look, there's a pickup truck out there. All right, so he was blown out of a 1974 Ford pickup truck parked outside his home. Is that a Ford? I know it's not the same one, but I just thought that'd be ironic. We'd be using J-Case vision. Remember that? Lake County Coroner Daniel Thomas said he believes Bova died instantly. Thomas did not rule on the cause of death as of yet. Well, a bomb? Because x-rays were ordered to learn if Bova was killed before the cab. Oh, I see. Of the truck exploded. X-rays may point out if Bova was shot, for example. Police Chief Jerry McCory said earlier that police did not believe explosion was related to an internal union struggle or organized crime. See, I don't know how you can just toss that out. You know, maybe he wasn't playing, you know, pay for play type of thing. You know, he wasn't giving a cut to somebody. Our understanding is that the local was run pretty clean and pretty good. So pretty clean and pretty, you know, not absolutely clean and just pretty clean. Nonetheless, McCory said, you know, just a few things here and there, you know. Nonetheless, McCory said no motive was being ruled out at the time. Investigators interviewed local 81 officials Wednesday, McCory said, and the officials answered all questions freely. Law enforcement officials also traveled to the Union Hall at 253 South Washington Wednesday afternoon to collect membership records. In 1988, the local reported having about 750 members. Jerry Singer at the ATF spokesman said Wednesday that the bomb was placed on the outside of the truck underneath the front axle. He said a secondary devices were being sought. Singer said any explosive devices or bomb fragments found by special agents would be sent to the ATF National Laboratory in Rockville, Maryland. He said every bomb has a signature of its maker. Vehicles owned by other union officials were also checked Wednesday. A spokesman for Valparaiso Police Department said four vehicles, or no, four. I don't even know where I was now. As a spokesman for bomb squad, no bombs were found. The truck that exploded had not been driven for 2 days, McCory said, explaining that Bova had driven to work Monday and Tuesday with his brother, Frank. Bova was on his way to have breakfast. Isn't Frank the guy's name in Godfather? Bova was on his way to have breakfast with his brother when he was killed. The Bova brothers and Steve Heidman were part of a slate of candidates that ousted 12-year incumbent Virgil Goen from the top post of business manager in June 1988. Heidman, who now holds the business manager post, was one of the officials warned early Wednesday to keep out of his car. Law officers have described that action as precautionary. A report that the election resulted in hard feelings was downplayed by union members. Arkine Cook, a field representative with the local and its president, said he was not aware of any disputes with the union. There were no problems with the membership of Local 81. Bova, who works full-time as a laborer at Hunter Corporation of Burns Harbor, attended a trade union meeting Tuesday and appeared to be in good spirits. Don Hamilton, business agent with Laborers Union Local 41, also attended the meeting. I absolutely didn't know he had any enemy in the world, Hamilton said. It is a shock to everyone in organized labor. It is still unbelievable. It is still a shock. The friends and fellow union members of Joseph Bova are offering a $30,000 reward The award is posted by Laborers International. Let's see. The reward was announced Thursday afternoon, about the time Lake County Coroner Daniel Thomas ruled on the death of Bova. Thomas said Bova, 43, died as a result of a bombing at about 6:04 a.m. Wednesday of his truck. It exploded outside Bova's home at 6686 Massachusetts Street. Right here. Wonder if there's any like shrapnel in that tree still. Okay. It was a horrible death, Thomas said. He died from the bomb injuries and from the loss of blood. Hey, thanks, Amber Maiden, as in Iron Maiden. Although you don't look like anybody in Iron Maiden. That I can see in that small little thumbnail. Let's see. It was a horrible death. Thomas said he inspected the pickup truck with a special agents of the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF. He said he believes the bombing was the work of a professional. Thomas said special agents have surmised that an alligator clip was installed on the starter and wired to a pipe bomb. The bomb, one reported to be a 2-inch in diameter and 8 to 10 inches long, was apparently placed over the transmission. Then Bova turned the key, Thomas said. The force of the explosion was incredible. Thomas said it blew the truck into a form of a pyramid, and it blew the windows out. The dashboard was reshaped into the form of a V, he said, and the floor of the cab was missing. Metal fragments pierced Bova's body, Thomas said, and despite the blast, it is believed Bova managed to make his way to the front lawn, wow, that's crazy, of his home, where he collapsed. Jerry Singer, a spokesman for ATF, said earlier that no comments would be made about the types of devices. Huh, that's wild. He actually lived for a little bit, probably just adrenaline and shock. The explosive device that killed a Union leader was a pipe bomb about 2 inches in diameter. The bomb was wired to the starter and exploded when Joseph Bova, 43, turned the ignition. He died from the bomb injuries. The explosion occurred early Wednesday. The Laborers International Union, Valparaiso, and another labor organization offered $30,000 reward. The Bureau of Alcohol, ATF, the U.S. Treasury is analyzing the fragments of the bomb. And come on, Jesus, you gotta be kidding me. Hold on. I'm gonna try it in Firefox, see what happens. We'll give it a whirl. So that's him and his wife. Joe Bova left a business agents for Labor International Union, or that's him right there, left. Was killed in 1989 in a vehicle bombing outside his home.
Shopping for fruits and vegetables in the Strack and Vantil.
Yeah. Don't really like vegetables. Joe Bova, seen here, left his wife, Sharon Bova, walked out of his home and climbed into his truck. Suddenly, as Joe Bova keyed the ignition, the truck exploded, sending him flying nearly 50 feet away. Joe Bova, 43, died about 6:40 a.m. Joe Bova, job secretary treasurer of Labor Union of North America, Local 81. That's some loud freaking music. Loud music. So anyways, they're trying to reignite some interest in this at this point. Mortally wounded when his truck exploded. His wife died of a broken heart. Joe was a good guy. He was a very good man. It's hard to have closure. Joe Bova's surviving immediate family members, including one brother and a sister. Joe and Sharon Bova never had children. Some of Bova's family have theories as to who was responsible, or at least who may have known something. Joe Bova's secretary treasurer of Labor Union of North America, Local 81. But police said early in the investigation that bombing didn't appear related to the job. I don't know how you could just say that. I mean, union leaders are notoriously connected to like mobs and things like that, at least back then. He rushed from upstairs to see what happened. It was then his mother shared the horrific news. His uncle was dead. Parlock, 9 years old, the day his family's reality was shattered. He recalls it was a school day and his mother got a phone call that caused her to scream. Yeah, it's kind of a long article. I don't really want to go through it all, but the links are in the description. Look at this last name on this person right here. SZAFASZ. Man, if you can pronounce that one, you're a genius. Robin SZAVASZ. Yeah, it doesn't sound like they have much more information on it. They questioned the officials. They answered all the questions. Just Joe Bova one day turns his ignition on and boom. I mean, it's not a professional hit. That means somebody didn't want him alive. So it seems like if you sort of figured out what was he trying to change or do, that you would then lead to somebody. Or it could be that he pissed off somebody who had connections and took him out in a professional way, but it didn't have anything to do with where he worked. Right? But somebody was really, needed him out of the way for a reason. Doesn't sound like a revenge type. It sounds like it's just purely, we need him not to be alive, right? Because if you were trying to pay somebody back for screwing you over, you'd want him to suffer a little bit. Okay, he may have suffered, but when you try to blow up a vehicle, you're trying to kill somebody immediately. It's not intended to have the person suffer at all. So there you go. All right, everybody, I could tell you guys are all so interested. There isn't one comment related to what we're talking about, so we're going to go ahead and get the hell out of here. All right, so we've got the... Yeah, they're also not done for just... They're just used to take somebody out. see. All right. Gonna go over to. That's right. Wah. All right, so on the, well, I'll do all of the ones from today. You know, the one from, we had a live show with Megazoids only on the craziest shit you've ever seen in your life. All right. All right, so here we go. Jess Tombley, LM, Alley Cake, Mag, LM, that was on that show. And then, thank you, Rita Schaefer, right there. And Bitsy Boo, Claudia Neubauer, Rita Schaefer, Kentucky Churt Guy, Carol Look at the Flowers, Scott Holland, Allie Cake, K-Dog, Jessica Schubach, Carol Look at the Flowers again, Rita Schaefer, Georgina Stolica, Dustin Schaefer, Maureen Coe, Angela Vincent, Brianna Probst, Lee D, Ria Mazzarone, Empathic, Vid Intuitions, Rita Schaefer, Dan Carr, Reviewed Popcorn, changing the subject dramatically, Reviewed Popcorn again, Rita Schaefer, Leah Furness, Rita Schaefer, Amber Maiden, Rita Schaefer, and then Rita Schaefer again. So thank you, Rita Schaefer, for all those, you know, keeping the flow going throughout the show. I like that. Huh? Wow, Mag. Thank you. Just right at the buzzer there. Well, anyways, I'm sorry you keep buffering all the time. I wish you could be paying attention, but I took a patient to Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston. I was telling them the patient and myself were listening to you on the drive down, and one of the ER docs I was giving a report says, I love that guy, he doesn't put up... Oh, really? So somebody else has actually watched my show that you talked to, D&K Rec? I've never ran into anybody in public, although I have to admit in the last year and a half I haven't been exactly just sort of hanging out where there's a lot of people, right? Yeah, that's cool. Good old Boston. Boston. Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Mag. That was very kind. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all for showing up tonight. I hope you found those cases interesting. Some solved ones, some updates, 2 sad updates on the first 2 cases. Then we've got the, you know, multiple other cases, serial killers, all kinds of stuff going on. None of us has what? I don't know what you're talking about. Metal madness. So you got to type in a full sentence, because it wasn't like I was having a conversation with you. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like 20 minutes later. No? No what? What did I say no to? What? No to what? What are you saying no to? Late to the party. As usual. Come on, Helsinki 78. You gotta quit watching those other channels, man. You gotta show up to this one. Yeah, I'm not gonna be going to like the grocery store all the time. You know, it's just, I mean, now I could, but you know, I want other people. Here's what I hate. I think it sucks that so many people are not going to be taking the vaccine. It's not dangerous whatsoever to take the vaccine. It's very effective. It works. And I wish everybody would just take it. Okay? Because that's how we're going to get rid of the freaking virus. Okay? But not doing it's just going to keep lingering on for years and years. And it is a very dangerous virus when you catch it. Now, it's not mostly Republicans, Jay. Yeah, it's the anti-vaxxer lefties, too. Yeah, so... You're wrong, Jay. I know you're trying to, throw a little diss in there. It doesn't work, though. You're always wrong every time you come in here and type in anything. Don't even know who the hell you are, but every time I see that one little letter type something, you always got to look the other direction. It's not going to be true. Yeah, it's anti-vaxxers and people who just don't want to take it, I actually respect them more than like the whole anti-vaxxing thing. Are you kidding? Man. Vaccines have saved the planet multiple times already, from horrendous death. What does that mean? That little drawing right there. A line with another person. Oh, you mean you're really far away from other people. I see. Yeah. I'm just going to remove that person because I know they weren't here. They made 0 comments the entire show, but we're just waiting to get their little diss in. And so those are the kind of people I can't stand. Let's see. Right. So I think there's just as many anti-vaxxers as there are people who just don't want to take the vaccine. For conspiracy reasons. They're all just... Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all for showing up tonight. I appreciate it. We will see you guys tomorrow with new cases. All kinds of different stuff, all right? Yes, we're not just a one-trick pony here on this channel. We don't just keep covering the same case every single day over and over and over again. The Delphi case was a little bit more popular recently, and there seemed like there was stuff going on. But, I just do it when, Sunday nights usually, maybe Saturday. But we had a few more recently because the guy that was arrested, but I don't really think he's, he could be the person, but probably just as likely as any of those other ones. Thanks, Nay Folk. Oh, and our buddy Jeff, he just donated $500 to the same DNA fund. So I'll make sure that gets put in there. So we're going to go add that to it. That, because of this channel, our fund. So let me add to, he's matched, I think, 2,000 so far. So let me put, where is that one? There it is. Yeah, he just let me know just now in an email. And the thing is he was going to send it to me, his 1,500 and his 500 that he sent. But I didn't want him, because if it goes to me, then it goes through this like everything else. But I thought it'd be cool to just match the fund. He didn't have to support my, you guys already support my channel and the charities. I just figured we could just get that all in there at the same time. So, let's see. I didn't want it to have any of it taken away, is what I'm trying to say. All right, so 7,500 now. I just got that email just now. So 7,500. And now this is up to $14,100. So this is our, and I feel good about that because he would have sent it to me, but I'm just gonna have it all go to that. All right. So we've got that in there. I mean, I'll you know, obviously 2,000 of it is from a sort of a private donor to our same fund, but we now have 14,100 total, and we've got 7,500 in the DNA fund. And this month I might actually put the entire amount into it, so to get it up to 10. Like if we can get up to a point where I can donate 2,500 again, we'll get the DNA fund up to $10,000. Our goal is 15, but maybe we can do more. So there you go. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you all for showing up, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. And make sure you wear your mask, maintain your social distancing, wash your hands, get the vaccine for God's sakes. I want you all to survive. If you get COVID, it's pretty dangerous. You know, I would say it's like this: if your odds of dying from COVID, if you get the vaccine, are almost zero. But not getting it, you're like 1 in, let's just say the denominator is different. You're like 1 in 300. Man, would you ever walk into a building knowing that you have 1 in 300 chance of getting, there's no way in hell. Forget it, man. So, please, everybody, get the courage up. Go get it. Get Pfizer. The side effects are pretty minimal. Yeah, Colleen's awesome. Yeah. She actually, the lady that was in here last night, Misty, I think. I guess she's like the high-end genealogist, the senior genealogist. So, man, I think we need to get her on at some point. She can discuss what they do. I mean, to be honest with you, we could just load up one of my account. Or maybe, I mean, I'd like to see what's going on. Like the 1961 case, if they got usable DNA, I'd like to kind of be watching and sort of following along as they're figuring out who the individual is, right? I think it'd be amazing. It's such a cool, you just wouldn't believe what they're doing. The amount of stuff that they're doing on the background, trying to put the trees together. And then once you get to a certain point, you actually have to literally get a hold of those people and ask them if they wouldn't mind submitting to one of the websites, then downloading the raw data, uploading it to GEDmatch, and selecting the allow law enforcement, opting in. Yeah, it's crazy though, but they get it done. Absolutely unbelievable. Yeah, well, I'm glad you got yours, Buckle Bunny. You got one of the comorbidity type deals. All right. So there you go, everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, flag rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Grader's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, free connector, and I'm always gonna be a protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his spectre. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender. Oh, hey, thanks, Dave Bolt, thank you for your,
and in the end, I'm gonna
PayPal or
send
whatever it
ya
was, but
on a mission to reveal the true offender.
yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody, talk to you later. Hello? Hold on. Look at that. That's Nebulae Iglaglog. Right there. Can you see it? It's amazing.
Hey, Gray, what does Iglaglog mean?
Well, it just means that it's possible that the... there's a name of that, because given the fact that there's trillions of nebulae out there.
Oh, okay.
Hey, thanks, Juju Positive. Wow. Right at the end of the show there. Amazing. I appreciate it. Hey, you gotta watch the flyby anyways. Yeah, it's pretty round. It's pretty round. It's definitely a sphere there. Wow.
Gosh, can you believe that? Somebody actually said that the Earth is flat.
Hey, it sounded like you were about to say it's round, because it is round. Well, it's not really round, it's a sphere. You know, but from a distance it looks round. Well, you know what I'm saying?
Well, can you prove it's round in a sphere? How do we know we're just not looking at a flat thing?
Well, because astronauts have been there.
Well, how do you know they just weren't paid to say it looked like a sphere? And that the videos that they filmed from those spacecrafts are just done in a studio somewhere?
Well, I guess at some point you just have to take things by the faith of it.
Oh, I see. So you don't need the facts then.
Well, that is a fact. If an astronaut says they were out in space and filmed a sphere...
Well, how do you know they weren't lying?
Ah, shut the hell up.
Gosh, Gray, you're so mean.
Oh, God. Unbelievable. All right, everybody. See you guys tomorrow. Be safe out there.